Okay, let's unpack this. So today, we're kind of skipping past the shiny front-end apps everyone sees. We're diving straight into the engine room, the critical infrastructure underneath it all, IT operations management, ITOM.
Right. ITOM.
Yeah, when most people think about, keeping a big company's tech running, they probably picture people like patching servers or maybe restarting apps that have stalled out.
Sort of the hands-on stuff.
Exactly. But that whole ecosystem underneath, the specialized software that's actually designed to manage, monitor, optimize all that IT infrastructure and services, that's ITOM.
Mm-hmm.
And historically, well, we mostly saw this as just being about efficiency, right? Keep the lights on, make things run fast.
But I think the sources we looked at really flipped that script.
Yeah.
I mean, in today's world with cyber attacks just relentless, ITOM isn't just nice to have for efficiency anymore. It's shifted. It's become, frankly, an absolute security prerequisite.
A prerequisite. Okay.
Yeah, it's like the essential control system that makes sure the environment is stable enough, consistent enough to even be secure in the first place.
So our mission then for this deep dive is to cut through some of that complexity. We need to figure out how these tools, these operational tools, software built for managing network flow, performance, all that, how they're now so critical for proactive security.
Right, not just cleaning up after a breach.
Exactly. How do they actually help identify vulnerabilities, mitigate risks, before things go wrong?
And that's crucial because this understanding, it really matters everywhere.
Yeah.
I mean, the material we reviewed, it pulls examples from tech companies, sure, but also high-stakes places like healthcare systems, complex finance, even global retail.
So broad relevance.
Absolutely. If your business relies on tech that needs to be up and running reliably, like all the time, then getting a handle on ITOM is just fundamental to your resilience.
Okay, so let's build from the ground up. Before ITOM can be this, security sentinel, it first needs to be a really good operations manager.
That's the foundation.
Right. So what are those core functions? What does ITOM actually do day to day to create that operational stability?
Okay, so we can kind of synthesize it down into, I'd say, 3 critical areas. The first one is probably the most intuitive: performance tracking and issue resolution.
The monitoring piece.
Yeah, but it's more than just watching dials. Think of it as the real-time sensor array for your entire IT environment.
Okay, sensor array. I like that. It implies context, not just data points.
Precisely. ITOM tools give you that real-time, often really granular data on the health of, well, everything. Servers, networks, app loads, you name it.
And the benefit isn't just knowing, say, the network's a bit sluggish.
No, it's about speed and significance. It's getting alerted immediately when there's a major system anomaly, something that could be a sign of impending failure or, importantly for us today, an emerging threat.
So it minimizes disruption, keeps the business running.
Yes, but crucially, it also tightens the window. An attacker might have to exploit any instability in the system. Less chaos means fewer hiding places.
Okay, pillar number 2. And you hinted this might be the most impactful one from a security angle: automation and configuration management.
Huge.
We know human error is, well, it's always there. It's a constant vulnerability. So how does an ITOM tool really push back against that kind of deep-seated risk?
It fundamentally tackles consistency. I mean, think about so many major breaches. How often does it come down to a misconfigured device or a critical patch that just got missed?
All the time.
Right. So automation takes that variable human element out of the equation for those repetitive but critical tasks. ITOM tools can handle complex jobs, software updates, routine data backups, crucial system configurations automatically, reliably, on schedule.
Which means, in theory, every server, every application instance should be configured exactly the same way, exactly how your security policy or compliance demands.
That's the goal, exactly. Consistency is security, especially at scale. When you eliminate what's called configuration drift.
Yeah, those little manual tweaks people make over time that add up.
Precisely those. When you eliminate that drift, you maintain your defined security standards across potentially massive, sprawling infrastructure, something that's basically impossible to do accurately just by hand anymore.
Okay, makes sense. And the third foundational pillar: incident and problem management. Now, we're not just talking about getting a notification that a server needs restarting.
No, it goes deeper. We're talking about comprehensive diagnosis. These tools don't just help you efficiently track and, diagnose the immediate incident. They push the team to find and fix the root cause of recurring issues.
The why behind the what.
Exactly. And that's critical because if you just keep fixing the symptom, restarting that same server every week, without tackling the underlying reason, you basically have a persistent security flaw just sitting there, waiting.
Like an open invitation.
It can be. And sometimes a low-level recurring operational glitch can actually be a fantastic smokescreen for a persistent attacker who's already inside.
Okay, this is where, like you said, it starts to pivot. Here's where it gets really interesting, I think. Once you have that stable, automated operational base, ITOM stops being just, well, passive management.
Right.
It becomes an active security engine. It moves from just managing efficiency to actually truly fortifying the defenses.
And that shift is really enabled by combining that continuous monitoring we talked about with increasingly sophisticated analytics.
Okay.
Because ITOM is already collecting all this performance data from the entire environment, everything from system load to network bottlenecks, user activity patterns. It holds this unique, massive data set. Often it's richer context than pure security tools have on their own.
A broader view.
A much broader view.
Yeah.
And this allows for real-time identification of vulnerabilities, yeah. But it also starts to move into actual threat anticipation.
Okay, you flagged 2 specific advanced capabilities in the source material that really leverage that rich operational data. Let's dig into the first one, behavioral analytics.
Right. So behavioral analytics is all about learning what's normal within your specific IT environment.
Establishing a baseline.
Exactly. Think about, say, a database administrator. They probably log in around 9 a.m., leave by 5 p.m. They access certain standard maintenance files, maybe query data in predictable ways, predictable volumes. ITOM watches and learns these patterns constantly.
Okay, so give us a scenario then. How does knowing normal become a security superpower?
Let's stick with that database admin. Imagine the system sees that same user account suddenly log in at 3 a.m. Okay, that's unusual. And it's coming from, say, an IP address in a country they've never logged in from before.
Red flag number 1, number 2.
Right. And then that account immediately tries to download a massive chunk of data, maybe several gigabytes. That is a sharp deviation from their normal behavior profile.
Totally abnormal operationally.
Exactly. The ITOM tool, seeing this operational anomaly, the time, the location, the data volume, can flag it instantly.
Yep.
Or even automatically lock the account before that huge download finishes. It's detected the likely compromised credential through its abnormal operational footprint.
That real-time detection based on operational abnormality, not just a known virus signature, that must be key.
Okay.
It probably cuts down massively on false alarms security teams chase.
Oh, absolutely. Reducing that noise, pinpointing a likely genuine threat instead of digging through standard error logs, it saved countless hours.
And that freed up human expertise. That time saved can then be focused where it's needed most. Which brings us to the other key capability you mentioned, predictive threat modeling.
Yeah, this is really looking ahead. By leveraging all that historical performance data, incident logs, configuration history, ITOM tools can start to, well, predict potential security weaknesses before they're actively exploited.
So wait, they're not just scanning for malware signatures that are already known. They're modeling where the next vulnerability might actually pop up.
That's the idea.
Yeah.
It's probabilistic, of course, but yes. For example, if the system consistently sees high-risk configuration changes or minor security events happening on servers running a specific, maybe older operating system,
Okay.
the predictive modeling engine might say, hey, this group of assets looks increasingly risky. It can then prioritize resources, maybe extra monitoring, faster patching, proactive hardening for those specific systems.
So it lets organizations be proactive, allocate their limited security resources to the highest risk areas before an attack even starts.
Exactly. It helps shift the posture from constantly reacting to strategically anticipating moving defense upstream.
Okay, so we've established the how. Now let's talk about the proof. How do organizations actually quantify this? How do they measure if this proactive approach is working? It's one thing to say your security is smarter, but you need metrics, cold, hard numbers, especially to justify the cost and assess the real risk.
Yeah, you absolutely need metrics. It takes the guesswork out of understanding your actual risk exposure. Quantitative assessment lets you put a number on how effective your security controls really are.
I'll find the gaps.
Precisely. Identify the gaps in your defenses and then prove your resilience, or lack thereof, to stakeholders, maybe even regulators. And because the threats are always changing, you need regular metric-driven assessments. It's just non-negotiable today.
Okay, the sources we looked at really zeroed in on 3 critical time-based metrics here. Let's take the first one. It seems to be about speed of awareness, MTTD.
Right. Mean time to detect, MTTD. Pretty straightforward.
Yeah.
It's the average time it takes your organization to actually spot a security incident from the moment it kicks off.
And the goal here is? Fast.
Measured in minutes, ideally. Not hours, definitely not days or weeks. If your MTTD is low, it means you're catching things quickly, you're proactive, and the potential damage from any intrusion is immediately limited.
Makes sense. Detect fast, but then you have to fix it fast too, right? Which brings us to MTTR.
Yep, mean time to respond or remediate, MTTR. Sometimes you see respond, sometimes remediate, or both. This measures the average time taken to fully contain, eradicate, and recover from a detected incident. Basically, how long till you're back to normal and the threat is gone.
And a low MTTR means your response process is efficient.
Exactly, and you need both to be low. Think about it. If you detect a threat fast, great, low MTTD, but then it takes you weeks to actually fix the underlying problem and kick the attacker out, high MTTR, well, you're still exposed for all that time. The organization remains vulnerable.
Okay, MTTD, MTTR, critical time metrics. Now, you raised a key point earlier that kind of links back to this vast amount of operational data ITOM generates. Where does it actually go to calculate these specific security metrics like MTTD and MTTR? ITOM itself isn't usually the final security dashboard, is it?
That's a really important clarification. It's about integration. ITOM is fantastic at collecting that rich, detailed operational performance data. But to get that enterprise-wide security picture, to calculate those key metrics accurately, you typically need a central intelligence layer.
And that's where tools like SIEM come in?
Exactly. SIEM systems, that's security information and event management.
SIEM. Okay.
Right. SIEM systems are designed to ingest and correlate massive amounts of log data from everywhere. They pull in that ITOM operational data, but they combine it with traditional security logs, firewall logs, endpoint detection data, user authentication records, threat intel feeds, everything.
Creating a single pane of glass.
Sort of, yes. By combining the operational context from ITOM with the security event context from everywhere else within the SIEM, organizations can then accurately calculate metrics like MTTD and MTTR. They can run vulnerability scans against the known asset inventory from ITOM, track compliance controls. It's that fusion of data that provides the real intelligence. ITOM feeds the beast, you could say.
Got it. ITOM provides the deep operational truth. SIEM provides the broader security context and analysis.
That's a good way to put it.
Okay. So what does this all mean then when we bump up against, real-world friction? These ITOM solutions integrated with SIEM, they sound incredibly powerful, essential even, but implementing them, that sounds like a massive undertaking.
It definitely can be.
What are the big hurdles organizations typically hit?
Well, looking across the sources, we see, I'd say, 3 primary friction points coming up again and again. First, and maybe the most immediate one, just budget constraints.
Sticker shock.
Yeah, and it's not just the initial price tag for the software. Enterprise-grade ITOM solutions often have pretty heavy licensing fees, ongoing maintenance costs, maybe significant cloud consumption charges if they're SaaS. It can turn into a really hefty perpetual operational expense that finance teams can sometimes balk at.
So the total cost of ownership isn't trivial.
Okay.
Even if you get the budget, you need people who actually know how to drive this thing, right?
Absolutely. That's the second major hurdle.
Yeah.
A persistent industry-wide shortage of skilled professionals. You need highly specialized people, folks who understand not just networking or servers, but also complex data analytics, security frameworks, automation scripting. You need that blend of skills to really deploy and manage these integrated ITOM and SIEM solutions effectively.
A powerful tool is kind of useless if nobody knows how to configure it properly or interpret the output.
Precisely. Garbage in, garbage out, or maybe just overwhelming noise in, confusion out.
Okay. Budget, skills. What's the third big challenge? Often it's about fitting the new thing into the old stuff.
That's exactly it. Integration complexities. Most organizations aren't starting with a blank slate. They have existing systems, legacy infrastructure, maybe on-premise mainframes, older networking gear.
Stuff that's been running for decades sometimes.
Right. And trying to merge a modern, maybe cloud-native ITOM platform with all that existing, potentially outdated on-prem stuff, it can be technically very difficult, incredibly time-consuming. These integration headaches can stall deployments for months, even years, and sometimes leave critical parts of the infrastructure effectively unmonitored because they just can't talk to the new system properly.
Leaving blind spots, major blind spots.
Exactly.
Okay, so pulling it all together then, what does this all mean? We have these powerful, almost essential tools, but they come with significant challenges in cost, skills, and integration. It sounds like getting it right requires more than just buying software. It requires real strategic alignment.
That alignment piece is non-negotiable. You said it perfectly. IT operations strategy, especially when it involves these powerful management tools. It just cannot exist in its own little silo. It has to be tightly aligned with the overall business objectives.
And critically, you mentioned regulatory demands earlier, too.
Absolutely. Alignment with business goals and with those ever-shifting regulatory compliance requirements. That strategic alignment is what ensures you're implementing effective security measures in a way that truly manages risk, yes, but also continues to support and drive business success.
So at the end of the day, that partnership between IT operations managed through ITOM and the organization's broader security posture, it's pivotal.
It really is. For building resilience against these constant evolving cyber threats, that link is fundamental.
Okay, let's do a quick recap then. The core takeaways seem to be ITOM isn't just for keeping the lights on anymore. Its core functions, especially things like automation and rigorous incident management, are now foundational for good security.
Right. Operations enable security.
And then we layer on top of that these advanced capabilities like behavioral analytics, predictive modeling, using all that rich operational data ITOM collects to actually get ahead of threats.
Moving from reactive to proactive.
And we measure how well we're doing by feeding ITOM data into systems like SIM, allowing us to track those key metrics, especially mean time to detect, MTTD, and mean time to respond, MTTR.
Measure, improve, repeat.
But as always, we want to leave you, the listener, with something a bit more provocative to chew on. A final thought that maybe ties together that need for speed and automation with the complexities we just discussed.
Yeah, so our source material highlighted this constant challenge organizations face, navigating really complex and constantly changing regulatory compliance standards. Think GDPR, ATPay, PCI DSS, you name it.
Always moving targets.
Always. So if ITOM tools are essential for that automated consistency for managing configurations at scale to meet those standards, UT implementation often faces those big hurdles. Budget constraints, major staff shortages.
Yeah.
You literally can't hire enough experts.
Okay, so you have the tool, but maybe not the full team or budget behind it.
Consider this scenario. What happens when a powerful, sophisticated ITOM system is successfully deployed? It's centralizing all your operational monitoring and control, which sounds great. But the organization lacks the deep, specialized expertise needed to ensure that system is perfectly configured and continuously updated to align with every single nuance of those shifting compliance standards.
Uh-oh. I think I see where this is going.
Could that very centralization, that powerful automation, without the absolute expert oversight and constant tuning, could it inadvertently turn the ITOM system itself into a massive single point of systemic failure?
Meaning it could be super efficiently enforcing the wrong rules or missing a critical new compliance requirement across the entire estate because it wasn't updated correctly.
Precisely. Instead of being the source of security and compliance it was meant to be, it becomes a highly efficient way to be non-compliant or even insecure at scale, because everyone trusts the machine.
Wow. So it really raises a fundamental question, doesn't it? Is that kind of centralized operational power, if it outstrips your capacity for expert oversight and governance, actually a source of resilience? Or is it just creating a different kind of risk, maybe a hidden complexity tucked away behind a single, very expensive dashboard?
Something to think about. That interplay between capability and capacity.
Definitely food for thought. We really encourage you to keep exploring this crucial nexus where IT operations meets cybersecurity. It's clearly more important than ever. Thanks for diving deep with us today.